Good to go. This is Mike Morales of Fit to Fight. I'm here with my good friend Nick Farooqui.
That's right. At
Xtreme Training Academy in Bartlett, Illinois. And Nick, what is ballistic fighting method? What does that mean? Why the name?
So Ballistic Fighting Methods is kind of my program. Okay, originally it started off, my first location was called Ballistic Fighting Methods. Now I'm at Xtreme Training Academy, which is a little bit more conducive to the general public and opens it up. But Ballistic Fighting Methods itself is a conglomerate of different programs that I have. My ballistic edge weapons, my ballistic hand-to-hand, my ballistic Kali, my ballistic JKD, all the programs, my ballistic law enforcement, all fall under the Ballistic Fighting Methods. Get it?
Yes.
And I chose the name because you know, I felt like I understood one particular philosophy a long time ago. To beat violence, you need to be superior in violence. So basically, you have to get ballistic. So that's where the name comes from.
Love the name.
Yeah.
Fast, furious,
yeah.
kicking ass.
That we're trying. We're doing the best that we can. So.
Okay. Well, the next question I got for you is, it's a very popular question I get all the time, is tell us why martial arts doesn't work, well, for most people, doesn't, in my opinion, why it doesn't work in the street.
Well, first and foremost, martial arts has nothing to do with combat. Okay? Very little bleed over, I should say. Martial arts is a journey. It's about oneself, you know what I mean? And if you are sharing this with another person, there's typically a punitive end, right? Points, tap out, submission, that kind of stuff. When you talk about martial arts, meaning, let's go traditional martial arts, karate, taekwondo, aikido, these type of things, that's what people are like, it's going to get you killed. And it's not really the martial art. When you talk about combative arts, Jeet Kune Do, Pakiti Torsha Kali, I hate saying this, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek, Krav Maga, Kina Muay Thai, Luke Prisian, these are combative arts, you know what I mean? So, but if we're just saying martial arts as a blanket statement, okay, meaning everything's included in there, or just particular training. Why does it get you in trouble? It's honestly for two reasons in my opinion. One is the training method. You know, you go through in traditional martial arts, you go through these several belts, and you're breaking the shit out of some boards, okay? But you're never developing attributes. Combat is about attributes. It doesn't matter what techniques you know. You have to have good timing, good distancing, aggression, all these type of things. If you want to be an effective fighter, don't ever step foot into a martial arts school. Go to the bar, go piss somebody off and get in a fight. And about 6 months later, you'll be pretty good. You know what I mean? So the training methods just aren't there because it's become too, if I can use the term McDojo, it's soft, okay? And there's not a whole lot of pressure testing. I mean, we got guys that are in here, first degree, second degree black belts in traditional arts, and they're getting their cans kicked by my 6-week, 8-week student. You know, because right off the bat, we want to develop particular attributes. You know what I mean? So that's one part of it. The other part of it, just honestly, is just quality control. People are selling belts, and you get to your black belt test, and you just miss it, and the instructor says, "Listen, I'm going to put you in the fast track program. You give me another $1,000 and you get to train with us for the next 6 months, I'll make sure that you get your black belt." By that time, you're hungry and you're shelling out that $1,000 like it's nothing. But what did that do for you as a skill set? Nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So why does martial arts get you killed? It's got nothing to do with martial arts. It's the person. It's the training method. You know what I mean? You have to get out there and get dirty. And if you're afraid to get dirty, then take yoga.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Well, the next question I got is, probably what is your background or your experience in real violent situations, survival, life or death?
Yeah, so, you know, obviously coming through martial arts and combative arts training, that was obviously one big part of it. I mean, the way I was trained itself was violent, you know what I mean? You know, let me give you an example. When I was learning how to disarm edge weapons, it was with a live blade. We didn't have trainers. That's one element of it. For 8 years, I did security, everything from barroom security to executive protection. And, you know, I did that for a reason. It's because I didn't want points, and I didn't want judge, I didn't want octagon, but I wanted violence. You know what I mean? So because of that, I've had, you know, knives pulled on me, I've had guns pulled on me, I've had gang fights, I've been picked up and slammed on the asphalt head first, you know what I mean? I've had beer bottles swung at me, I've had baseball bats swung at me, I've seen people get run over by cars, you know. That's pretty violent,
yes,
you know what I mean? So, that, you know, and my job is to mitigate all of that, you know what I mean? Being a security personnel or being a security coordinator or trainer, that's what I have to do.
It's validated by real life experience.
And since then in my career now, I've worked with you know, several SWAT teams, federal law enforcement agencies, military special operations groups and such. So I get to see a different realm of violence through them, you know, which brings in quite the variety, everything from control tactics all the way to firearms. You know what I mean? So, you know, I kind of have the whole gambit that way.
Okay. Great, thanks for answering that. Next question I got is, and you don't have to mention any students' names, you know, but can you share any experiences you had from your students that successfully used your training?
Yeah, you know, I've had, let me give you a couple short ones. First and foremost, I have a women's self-defense program that I call Fighting Chance, okay? So far, I've gotten a chance to train it to over 1,200 women. I've taught it in 12 states. And, you know, you always enjoy getting those emails saying, man, I really loved your program and I had a lot of fun. You always hate getting the emails that are saying, you know, 6 months ago I trained with you. Last night I was coming out of work and some creep grabbed me at the back of my car. And I've had probably half a dozen of those things, you know. So I'm glad that, although I'm proud that they were able to fight, I'm very sad that they had to deal with that in the first place. So I've had plenty of those. I've had, you know, a lot of my training is situational awareness. Conflict avoidance, that's paramount. And so I've had plenty of my students be like, you know what, honestly now I sit with my back to the wall, and I was out with the wife the other day having dinner. This fight broke out and, you know, I mean, I was able to escape the door. I saw this person come to the door. Conflict avoidance is better than actually, you know, going off and tearing somebody up.
Absolutely. So, peace if possible, combat if necessary.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you for asking that question. What are some bad habits you commonly see in self-defense, martial arts, or baddest training? I know there's a lot, but... First and foremost,
the worst habit that I possibly see is this: lack of training. People are afraid to constantly keep putting in the mat time. You have to keep this. This is a diminishing skill. We're getting older. You're not going to be as fast. You're not going to be as strong. I mean, those are immature attributes anyways. But people who are like, yeah, you know, I did 6 months of whatever, and then that's the end of it. Well, have you maintained those skills? Well, no, I'm trying to get in shape. You're trying to get in shape to go to the gym? Why don't you go to the gym and get in shape? I mean, it should be physical fitness along with combative training at the same time.
Yes.
So if I saw the one main mistake, it's the complacency. And then the other complacency, I think, is just having that closed-mindedness where, you know, my art's better than yours.
Yes.
I know everything, you know, and that's not the journey, and that's not the method of training in the first place. Because although your art might be fantastic, I guarantee you there's somebody else that can teach you something else.
I agree. One thing I'd like to add in is why Navy SEALs, Marines, they constantly train for.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know, most people that I know, like Taekwondo, they study when they're younger, or something like Judo, and 10 years later they think it's going to save their ass on it.
And it's not. And because, you know, like in order for anything to be effective as a tool of self-defense or tool of combat, it has to be instinctive. You know what I mean? I mean, it's got to be instantaneous. You make contact or you see a threat, you're in action. There can't be a whole lot of this neurosynaptic process going, 10 years ago I learned this finger lock. Because by the time you figure it out, you're already on the pavement. And when you wake up, you're going to be very unhappy with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally agree.
So.
You answered some of my questions already, so you're kind of got to skip a few questions out.
That's okay.
Beat me to it.
That's all right.
But next question would be...
What are some skill sets that new students learn with ballistic fighting methods?
First and foremost, when you have a new student, you have to teach them proper stance, proper structure, proper footwork, okay? These are things that are very much overlooked because everybody wants the high-speed stuff, okay? But for the ones who want that functional, usable, repeatable skill, they have to go through the dirt with me, you know what I mean? So having that prepared structure all the time is so incremental to the game upline, you know what I mean? The ones who don't spend the time doing it just don't get it. They'll be flying around and look great, but when it comes down to when we pressure test them, which is something that we do with the beginners as well, okay? Not in a super violent way where they're going running out of here, you mean? You do it incrementally, you know, piece by piece, and you do it in a controlled fashion because we have to develop some trust, and we want them to be successful, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So as far as skill sets go, the first and foremost, you know, they learn the proper footwork, timing, distancing, that kind of stuff. They're learning pressure literally from day one, okay? And they're learning tactic definitely from day one. You know, you asked what, you know, one of the questions earlier was, what part of martial arts will get you killed, basically, is because you spend 10 years on technique and have no idea how to apply it. I'd rather have one technique, okay, one technique that I know I can hammer out every single time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I want that pressure tested. So
let's speak on from being in your class and watching it.
Yeah.
And my friend Philip, that's recording right now, got to jump in.
Yeah.
Philip, basically brought up about the stabbing that happened about 2 weeks ago in New York. The guy got stabbed, and you showed on the ground in realistic ways.
Yeah.
That's weapons training. It's something that you do that's quite different.
You know, weapons training itself, you know, I break everything down into 3 factions. You have the artistic side, you have the training method, and then you have the tactic, okay? The artistic side, you can spend decades training. This is when you go to the art, you know, if you want to go weapons training, you can go see the French Lacan, right? You can go see all of the factions of Filipino Kali, Sayak Kali, Kali Sinistrissimo, Pikiti Tertia. There's so many, you know, Balintawak. I mean, it's endless, right? Because different families have their own brand, let's just say. But that's the artistic side, you know. And then you have the training method, the drills. When you're doing stuff like hubad and sombrada, and double sombrada, the sarada, and numerada, and all these different drills that are part of developing attributes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? As long as you know what they're for. And then there's the tactic. How do I apply this? Now this is like 10% of a journey. You know what I mean? If less than that, maybe even like 5%. You know, do you want to learn the art? Do you want to learn the training method, or do you want to learn the tactic? You know what I mean? I start teaching tactics right off the bat because I want my students to be able to walk out of my gym every single day and say, you know what, if something happens in the parking lot, they can handle themselves. What I don't want them doing is saying, I learned something, I learned this drill, but I'm not quite sure what it's for, or get some type of false confidence, thinking that this is like something that you can actually do. You know what I mean? That shit doesn't work for me. So we start teaching tactics right off the bat. And you know, when it comes to weapons training, honestly, here's the thing. Nothing supercharges your attributes like weapons training, stick training, knife training, okay? It increases it'll clear up your footwork, it'll get you more prepared, it'll clean up your timing and distancing. Obviously, you're dealing with a weapon. It might be longer, it might be faster, or it just might be more lethal. But that is the training method. Tactic-wise, okay, you need to have weapons training. Obviously, that video that's going on Facebook and YouTube or whatever else, everybody's talking about this thing. This guy gets tackled to the floor and somebody else is shanking somebody, and then this guy's holding a phone going, do you need help? You know what I mean? That requires tactics. I don't want my students to get tackled on the floor because they said that they were, you know, they thought they were in some type of a weapons training program and never learned a tactic.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They only have drills in the artistic side. So you have to learn those type of things because you just don't know. You know what I mean? Anything can happen at any point in time. All right. Now I know there's a lot of systems and styles out there that say, you know, we're a military-based art, we're a guerrilla warfare art, we're whatever art. You know, we're pressure testing. And then you go watch the students and they're running around, you know, I don't know what they're doing, but they look very fluid with the stick or with the knife or whatever else it is, and then you pressure test them and then they crumble every single time. Now when it comes to training edge weapons, mid-length or short blade, you know, or even sticks, let's just say, there's a couple different mindsets. Some people say you need to have high mobility, speed, and power.
Yes.
Okay? That's fine. I'm cool with that. There's another mindset that says I need to have structure. Okay? I'm not going to run around and hold my base. I'm going to intercept. I'm kind of both, but really if I have to lean towards one, for me it's structure. Because I can't always guarantee what kind of my footing is going to be.
Right.
Am I on ice? Am I in gravel? Am I on asphalt? Am I in grass? And I don't want to play somebody else's game where we're timing ourselves to another person. They're going to, if they want to harm me, they have to come close. And when they come close or they enter that range, I'm going to punish them instantly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's one part of it. The other part of it is that I've never seen, you know, in my time in security or otherwise, a knife-to-knife fight, a stick-to-stick fight, a machete-to-machete fight. You know what I mean? But I have seen somebody crack open a bottle. I have seen somebody pull a blade.
Yes.
I have seen, you know, people draw firearms.
Yes.
This is a part of life, and you better know how to train against it.
Right.
In order to train against it, you know how it operates offensively as well. Does that make sense?
Great answers. I'm going to refer to it. How do you help your students psychologically to prepare against counter-violence? Actually, kind of answer that.
Yeah, you know, first and foremost, let me say this. I hate the term counter-violence.
Okay.
Counter-violence to me implies that I have to be a victim. You know what I mean? You do something to me, then I have to do something back to you. Shame on you. That's counter violence to me. Okay? I say superior violence. Okay? You touch me, I'll break your neck. Okay? You punch me, I'll chew off your arm. You kick me, I'm gonna shoot a testicle straight from between your legs up to the roof of your mouth. That's superior violence. I'm willing to do the things to you that you are not willing to do to me. Make sense? So we're superior violence. So how do I put that into my students? Honestly, it's a training method. That's the ballistic fighting methods. You know what I mean? The training method, the mindset that you develop from day one. Pressure testing, pressure testing, pressure testing. Do I give them the knowledge, the education? Yes, because I want them to not only understand what I'm teaching them, but I want them to understand what's related to it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know, why am I doing this? Let me give you an example. For those of you guys watching this, get on YouTube, do a search for Hubud or Chi Sao, and you see people doing all kinds of stuff. And it's super fast, looks really good. And then they think that's combat.
Yes.
Combat means somebody's trying to kill you. It's that guy's life or my life. You know what I mean? He's trying to peel your face right off your skull. You better deal with that. And if you think that doing Hubud or Chi Sao is going to do that for you, no, it's not. That's a training method. You know
So
what I mean?
pretty techniques, and it's not brutal extreme violence.
That's it.
That's when you get real on the street.
That's it.
That's good. What aspects of fitness do you got a lot here fitness? I see kettlebells, but
Yes.
what are the most important attributes or fitness that you would say for real street combat?
For combatively speaking, first and foremost, if you're out of air, meaning you're out of gas,
Yes.
you're pretty much done for. So you have to have that cardiovascular side to you. Now, this is not like running. We got plenty of people who can run 5, 6, 7, 8 miles. They're coming into a 2-minute round and they're going, oh my God, I can't keep up. You know, combat is dynamic. You're engaging different muscles at different times randomly. And you have the adrenal rush at the same time, you know what I mean? And it's just, your heart's breathing, it's pushing right through your chest, your breath is off pace, you know what I mean? And it happened by surprise. You need to have the mental clarity to come back down, right? So, first and foremost, you have to have air. Second thing you need to have is joint mobility, in my opinion. Meaning, I have to be able to move, you know. I don't know if I'm gonna be on the floor, if I'm gonna be standing up, if I'm gonna be one knee down, if I'm gonna have somebody yanking on one arm and somebody choking at the same time. I need to have joint mobility, you know what I mean? So, if I replace the term of joint mobility with agility, okay? Let's define agility. To me, agility is the body wants or needs to do something and it is not, the mind wants to do something and it's not limited by what the body can do. You know what I mean? That means if I need to run and cut hard left, I should be able to do it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
So, and that comes through training.
That's it. One thing I want to bring up, since you teach concealed firearms,
Sure.
and you're big on firearms,
I'm big on firearms.
I got to add that in. What are your views on that, and what everyone's concealed carry, and
So-
how should they train?
Should everybody conceal carry? Hell no. There's plenty of people out there. I don't want them near a super soaker, let alone a real firearm. You know what I mean? Like anything else, it's a responsibility. Okay, but having a firearm is a tool, and if I have only the firearm in my toolbox, it's kind of like saying I need to paint, but all I have is a hammer. You know what I mean? It's not the right tool for the job. And in civilian life, more often than not, we're not going to run into that high level of violence. Okay, we're going to run into the guy who cuts you off on the road or bumps shoulders coming out the door and just push up. And I imagine if you come out, you and I are walking on the gym, we bump shoulders, and you turn around and start talking shit and throw a punch at me.
Right.
And I draw my pistol and, you know, give you another breathing tube.
Yes.
I'm the bad guy no matter what, but you started it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I need to be able to deal with that situation
Empty hand.
appropriately. Empty hands, verbal de-escalation,
Right.
conflict avoidance, you know what I mean? These type of things. So, and for the people who are getting concealed carry, like they do the 16 hours, here's the thing, 12 hours of it's law. How much training do you really have? You know what I mean? You need to get out and spend a lot of time, not even at the static range, meaning static target line, static target. You need to be out doing tactical courses and defensive pistols courses, like I offer all these as well. Because it's going to teach you how to move in shooting. It's going to start teaching you tactics and training methods. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
Not just a concept field. So it's important to get out there and train.
That's pretty. Yeah. And just to wrap it up here, lastly, is there anything that you would like to further mention?
You know, there is something I want to mention, and first and foremost, I want to make sure that everybody understands that training is a journey. It's not a destination, okay? It's going to be continual, and the secret to it is don't bum rush it. Take your time and enjoy the journey, okay? And expose yourself to as much stuff as you can with people that you know and trust, and just enjoy. And it may not be for you today, but it might be something for you next month, next week, next year. So just take your time, okay? And if you want to expose yourself, I actually have an event coming up called the Warriors Weekend. This is the second Warriors Weekend. This is a concept that I designed probably about 5-6 years ago. And I've been thinking about it so much, you know, over that half of the decade. Eventually it had to come to fruition, and it finally came to fruition. And so what we have is September 13th and September 14th, I have 5 instructors, 5 combative systems, 5 completely different worlds, 2 days in one house right here, okay, at the Xtreme Training Academy. And you'll get a chance to spend a good 2 to 3 hours with every single instructor during, and these aren't like, I handpicked these guys, okay? Paul Ingram from Bikini Tour, Chicago. Alex Embry, who's a sergeant for a SWAT team with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Dominic Izzo, who's a YouTube sensation and has a radio show, and he's an ex-NIPUS guy, which is like a SWAT team, you know, with his Wing Chun. Carlos Flores with Dog Brothers, and then obviously I'm going to be here with our JKD, the Ballistic JKD. So you get a chance to spend some time and expose, and honestly it's not even about the training anymore. The camaraderie, the brotherhood, the open-heartedness, the lack of ego. I've never seen an event like this before. Okay, when we did the first one in March, it blew everybody away, which is why we have another one coming up, September 13th and 14th. You'll be able to sign on or find out more information at www.warriorsglobal.com.
You're ready to go. And what's your main website?
My main website is for the studio. If you want to come train here in Bartlett, it is www.extremetrainingacademy.com, and Xtreme is spelled with an X, not with an E. And then we also have the www.streetsafe101.com, which is more for my law enforcement and seminar and business work.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, man.
Brother Warrior Nik,
yeah,
it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having us come out.
Thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out.
Look forward to further training and being at, what is it, the Warriors Weekend.
All right. Make sure you guys are there. All right.
That's it.